Welcome back everyone to Mona's Take. I am your host Mona Rose and we're here to talk about everything reality TV. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything I have coming up. Today's video is going to be on Survivor 43, Episode 8. A lot going on that I don't quite understand in that, but we'll get right to it. People are acting on a whole nother level on that. Can't wait to see that karma train coming through. Choo-choo. Mood of the day. Really? You gotta give us more credit than that. Some people, buckle up, buttercup. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Alright, just to recap from last week, Dwight was voted out. Janine was blindsided. There were 7 that voted him out. There were 5 that were on the wrong side of the vote. So they get back to tribal council, and Cody's talking about how him and Jesse decided to flip and get Dwight out because he was a big threat. They convinced Sammy to come on board. So he talked a little bit about that. So Sammy's trying to talk to Janine, and he's like, look, they were going to vote him out regardless. I didn't want to be on the wrong side of the vote. I didn't want to tell you because I knew that he was, your number one, and I couldn't afford to tell you. So it shows Janine. She's crying. She's blindsided. She's talking about how bad of a night it was. Not only did she lose her number one in Dwight, but remember I said last week, I think he walked out of there with her idol in his pocket. Sure enough, she had given her idol to Dwight, and he did not give it back to her during tribal council. So she and everyone else thinks that her idol left the island with Dwight. She's crying. She's telling Sammy that he's breaking her heart. She knows she's on the bottom. But that's what I was saying last week. You got to start giving advantages and idols to other people because you know that somebody has the knowledge is power. You're also risking losing that advantage or that idol if that person ends up getting blindsided and get voted out. When there's still 12 people in the game, I wouldn't trust anybody. Not well enough anyway to give them my idol. So then it pans to Jesse. And oh my God. He has Janine's idol. Dwight got spooked, handed it off to him. Nobody that is still on the island knows that he has that idol. He knows that James has the knowledge is power. So he's not telling anyone. And I think he's smart enough to keep it completely to himself and not tell anyone else. I hope so. I hope so. But so far he's been playing pretty smart. He says he's not telling anybody. But not only does he have Janine's idol, but he has Cody's idol. Because Cody did hand off his idol to Jesse before tribal council. Did not see that happening. I thought Cody still had his idol, but evidently not. And he says Cody hasn't asked for it back yet. That would be the first thing I did when I got back to camp that night. After tribal council, I'm like, okay, give me my idol back. Or give me my advantage back. If I was stupid enough to hand it off to someone in the first place. Because, by all rights, Jesse doesn't have to give it back. Nobody that got handed off an idol or an advantage has to give that back. Keep that in mind. We didn't see Noelle get hers back. She has the steal a vote. But we did see in the previews that she's telling Carla that she's going to use it that night at tribal. So I'm thinking that maybe Carla has her advantage. Will Carla give it back to her? We shall see. This could stir up so much drama that it's not even funny. Owen talks about feeling like he's on the bottom. He talks about just like in high school, he felt like an outcast. Nobody wanted to play with him. I I don't like these kind of stories. I would rather see game talk. I would rather see challenges. The personal stuff is okay to a certain extent, but it gets old. Nobody goes on Survivor anymore just because they want to go on Survivor and they've watched it their entire life. They've got to have this, I've said it before, this grand story about why they're there and all of this. I don't like it. I think it's self-pity. I don't care for it. But he went on this tangent about how he felt like he was on the bottom, which he actually was. His name was getting thrown around from everyone. He was the number one person to go home last night. So the 7 that voted out Dwight were Jesse, Carla, Cassidy, Cody, Sammy, and Ryan. Sorry, try that again. James, Carla, Cassidy, Cody, Sammy, Jesse, and Ryan. And they talked about those 7 sticking together. Fabulous 7. We've got our alliance right here. We can stick together. We can pick them off. Gets down to the 7. Every man for themselves. So they start talking about who they would vote out. And Owen's name is the only one that was coming up. And shortly after that, Sammy is seen talking to Janine and Owen, I believe, saying that he didn't want to stick with the 7. He doesn't like the big alliances. He doesn't like people getting picked off. He thinks that you have to move with the flow. And he's going to let them think that he's a part of it because that way he can get information. So with the 5, with Sammy, that makes 6. They only need 1 more to have the votes to carry tribal council. So the names going around, like I said, Owen. So the daily challenge, this is the one where they have a platform that's on a pole. And they have to balance a ball on the platform. Each, I think it was 5 minutes. Intervals, they added an extra piece to the pole to make it higher and less sturdy. I saw a couple of things during this that I didn't think were legal, and I don't think that they've let them do it before. But one of them was like, had the pole on his forehead to hold it steady. Another one had it on his hip to hold it steady. I always thought that when they did that before that it had to be only your 2 hands out in front of you. But they were letting them prop up. I guess we're getting a little bit more weaker in the challenges, I'll say. So, tell them what the daily challenge is. And then, of course, you know, they're all talking about food back at camp, what they would eat, So, it's perfect time for negotiations for the rice. So, Phil tells them, I need 5 people to set out. You have this bag of rice that'll feed all of you for 4 days. Somebody popped up and said, how about 4 of us? And he says, no. 5 is my final offer. And if you don't take it today, each day, those numbers are going to go up. It's not going to get any better. So I was surprised, but right off the bat, there were a few of them that decided that they were going to sit out. And at one point, James was trying to get Owen to sit out. Now, James has been saying Owen's name all day at camp. He's the one to go. He's the one to go. So James tried to talk him into being the one to sit out. And he's like, no, not sitting out. Cassidy ended up doing it. But the ones that sat out were James, Sammy, Cassidy, Carla, and Jesse. Now, this is 5 of the 7 that are talking about the alliance. All 5 of these people are in the 7-person alliance. So I thought that was kind of funny. But the ones that actually needed it, they were going to play the challenge. It gets down to the final the final three. First was Owen, Gabler, and Cody. I thought Gabler was going to hang in there, but he lost it, so the final two were Owen and Cody. When they made their transition, Cody went right for the pole and started trying to make the transition. Owen kind of sat back and let him do it, hoping that during that transition that Cody would drop the ball. And he did. So Owen won individual immunity. So now let's regroup, because Owen's who we were going to vote out. Now we're going to vote out Janine. And I'm thinking, if I am playing Survivor, I'm trying to get out the threats. I'm not trying to get out people that are not threatening, that I know I can beat. But James is adamant that it has to be Janine. Well, Sammy doesn't like that. He doesn't want Janine to go. Carla doesn't want Janine to go. Cassidy doesn't want Janine to go. She even says, what about Ryan? She starts talking to people. What about Ryan? Everybody was on board with Ryan being voted out. Now remember, he's part of that 7. So then James comes back and is like, no, we can't get rid of Ryan. It's got to be Janine. It's got to be Janine. So everybody starts changing their minds back. And Cassidy's like, that's ridiculous. Why would you go after someone who's not a threat versus someone who is a threat? And the women are just getting picked off one by one. James said, well, we can get rid of Ryan at any time. It's got to be Janine tonight. Hell, they can get rid of Janine at any time. It's not like she can win anything. Anyway, so going into tribal council, we didn't know if it was going to be Ryan or if it was going to be Janine. Come down to the votes. Ryan has 2 votes against him, which were Cassidy and Janine. And the rest of the votes were for Janine. Now that is confusing to me. If I'm Owen, and I know I'm on the bottom of the pack, and I know I have to win to stay in the game, why am I not going to take this opportunity to do what I can to get Ryan out? Even if James didn't want to get Ryan out, with, say, it's 7 to 6, or 7 to 5. Okay. Actually, it's 6 to 6, because Sammy can go either way. Remember that Noelle has to steal a vote. She could have used that. They would have had the numbers, and they could have gotten Ryan out. But once again, Ryan skates through, and Janine is voted out. Like I said, a lot of women going home. The men outnumber the women now quite a bit. And Ryan, most people, if they want to talk game, they pick 1 or 2 people and they kind of drop little seeds. Ryan's not like that. If Ryan's got something to say, it doesn't matter who's there, how many people are there, he'll say it in front of the whole group. I think that's going to come back to bite him in the ass. I think people are going to start seeing that as being cocky and being too self-confident. And I think his days could be numbered. Now, it looks like the bigger alliance is sticking together. And if that's the case, then Owen, Noelle, Cassidy, who's the other one? Janine went home. Oh, Gabler, that's not in the 7. They're just going to start picking those people off one by one. None of them have any kind of idols. Noelle has to steal a vote. So all the people who have idols are in that 7. If they don't change something up and do something different, they're just going to get picked off. And then you're going to have the strong people that are at the end. Now, will that make for some good competitions? Yeah. But it's also a harder path to $1 million. And the one person that I'm seeing right now that's getting on my ever-loving nerves is James. James is running everything. People don't know it. They don't realize it. But if you watch, James is the one making the ultimate decisions. And everybody's following along. James and Ryan right now are the two most dangerous people on that tribe. If they skate to the end, they got a good chance of winning it. And I know, you still got 11 people in there. But remember, this is a 28-day survivor. Last night was their 14th day on the island. They're halfway through. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens the next couple of weeks. This is episode 8. So we have 8 more episodes, I believe. A lot can change. We'll see. Most of my picks have gone home. I can't even tell you. I think Cody's still there. Carla's still there. Sammy, I think, is one of mine. And Gabler. So, I look forward to next week. And until then, you guys have a great week. And as always, much love.